It should be like that everywhere, right? Wait, what? Any school you want. What is he talking about? Huh? That sounds like some year 3000 type stuff. Really? Even in the US? What is up? Welcome back. Today I'm reacting to a video titled 5 Things Sweden Does Better Than America. I know there's a lot of Swedes that migrated to America a long time ago, so I had to know what these are. Yeah, if you're new here, what's up? My name's Aaron, and this is Aaron Arnold Reacts. Through this channel, I'm discovering everything about Europe, Sweden included. The history, the people, the culture, anything you can imagine. I'm just trying to learn. So if you want to laugh with me, if you want to learn with me, and if you want to have fun with me, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I drop videos every single day, so you're always going to have something to watch. But now let's see why Sweden does these things better than America.
Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you, and in this one, I'm talking about 5 things that Sweden does better than the United States. That's coming up. So guys, I thought it'd be fun to do this one and kind of pick 5 things that maybe you wouldn't think about that I think Sweden does better. And number 1 is going to be money. Now let me explain. When I first came to Sweden, I was not a big fan of the fact that the Swedish money, all the Swedish kroners, were different sizes. I always liked in the United States having all my bills exactly the same. Until someone said to me, Andrew, it's because people that are visually impaired or blind can tell the difference in the bills. And the more and more I thought about it, it just makes a lot of sense.
Is that actually why? Like, actually? I thought it was just because the bigger the bill, it has more value because it's bigger. But I guess, yeah, I guess that's a really good reason too. I've never thought about that, actually.
Something that we should probably do in the United States. Another thing I like is that Sweden is a cashless society. I didn't like it at first when I first came coming from the US. However, I haven't used any cash in 5 years. In Sweden, we have something called Swish. Swish, swish, swish. And what we also have is Bank ID. Now, what's awesome about Swish is a phone app, basically, that if you have someone else's phone number, you can just go ahead and hit a couple buttons and send them money instantly to their bank account.
Okay, I mean, we have that now. You know, we have like Venmo, PayPal, Apple Cash. You know, you have a lot of things like that. We have that in the US too. So, but it is interesting. He said he hasn't spent cash in 5 years. That's a long time.
What you need to have is a bank ID code. Now, bank ID is awesome. It's basically anytime you want to pay or buy something, you just simply type a code in. You can log in to do your taxes with the bank ID. It is a much more secure system than what we have in the United States. Sweden doesn't have the same problem with fraud that you do in the US, because many times if you have to make a online purchase of like $50 or more, you have to use your bank ID code and it won't work on your card, or you have to open up your card. So when you have things like Swish, you can go ahead and pay to people instantly. Now people never have an excuse to not pay you. They can't go, oh, I don't have money right now. If you're splitting the cost of something, you could just pay for it yourself and then they Swish you instantly, which is awesome. It's nice to be able to use it at shops and purchases because you don't have to necessarily put your card in to use it that way. So that's also very secure. You're not giving out your card number or anything. You're just going ahead and swishing. Like I said, we don't have the problem with fraud that we have in the United States. I do think it's something we should look at in America to make it a little bit better. Number 2 has to be taxes. Now let me explain. When I do my taxes in the United States, my tax forms are usually almost 30 pages long. And
30 pages, that's a lot. He must have some sort of business. But yeah, doing taxes is, any US citizen will tell you it's a nightmare.
And in Sweden, you get a piece of paper that says, this is what you paid, and it takes 3 seconds to do. You basically log in with your bank ID, the one I mentioned earlier. You go to the Scandinavia app, which is the tax agency here in Sweden. Boop, boop, boop. You're done. Your taxes are done. It's a much less complicated system. Now, I know in America they have a computer system to use it, but I just think it's easier, and now taxes isn't this big, long kind of process you have to worry about. Another thing that Sweden does with taxes is sales tax. I actually kind of prefer this. What they do is they put the tax already in the item. So if something costs 25 crowns and it's a t-shirt at a store, it costs 25 crowns. When you go,
that is absolutely how it should be. It's so frustrating in the US when you go to buy a t-shirt and it's $25, but actually it's $27.50. So you really have to calculate that in your head or with your phone or whatever before you pay, just to know what the actual price is. That's one of the best things that I've heard, is that Sweden has a set price. If it's $20, it's $20. It should be like that everywhere, right?
When you go to pay, it's going to cost 25. You know, this was the first year when I went home to the United States that I was a little bit annoyed with the sales tax, because something's $100, but it's really $106 because you have to pay that. It's a major complaint I actually hear from people when they do go to the United States. They don't like the sales tax after the fact. It just seems to be like a more efficient way to do it, and I think that's something that Sweden does. But also, I feel that my taxes actually go to something here in Sweden as opposed to the United States. At least I see where it goes.
Interesting.
A lot more with the healthcare, with the free education, if you will.
Okay, real quick. On taxes, though, I think they pay a lot more tax in Sweden. Obviously, there's benefits like he's mentioning. What's the big difference, you think, between the taxes in the U.S., tax in Sweden? If there's any tax experts or accountants, I would love to hear from you.
Number 3 is going to be education, as far as how you can make choices in education.
Okay.
Now, if you're in the United States and you're poor and you come from a poor area, you're pretty much stuck at that school system there. The problem with schools in poor areas typically has to be that those schools take a lot of their money for the school from the overall tax revenue from the people that live there. And when I was in Ohio, for example, in Youngstown, we had areas in Youngstown where they didn't have computers, they didn't have money for books, they weren't able to pay like high quality teachers. But here in Sweden, you have the ability to choose to go to any school you want to, as long as
Wait, what? Any school you want?
there's room for you. You have to sometimes wait in a queue. But what that means is no matter what social economic background you come from here in Sweden, you're going to be able to get the same quality education as someone that's rich as well. And I really think that that's a fantastic thing that they offer here in Sweden. Also, education is free, higher education, but you do usually have to pay for room and board and things like that. And what Sweden does is Sweden will give you money. It give you money to live off of, and for rent. You do have to pay that money back over time, but
Oh, you have to pay it back. So it's like a loan. The government gives you a loan in Sweden to go to college? Is that what he's saying?
you have like 50 years to pay it off. You have like your whole life. You don't start out in such a huge debt. I would probably say the average Swedish debt might be $5,000 to $10,000, where in the United States it's 30.
Wait, real quick though. I thought Swedes and Europeans didn't really pay education. I thought that was kind of the point of the tax. Maybe I'm just confused. All right, let's keep going.
It's really hard to start a home and a life when you're already in debt and a good portion of your money has to go to your education, especially if you don't get a job in the field that you even studied for. So I think it's a better system all the way around. Number 4 has to be recycling. In Sweden, no matter where you go, if you live in an apartment complex, there's always an area you can go where you can throw away trash.
Glass, 2 different types of glass, plastic, paper, and I guess everything else, residual. Wow. Yeah, in the US, we really just have one. I mean, like my hometown, it's really just one. We just have residual. Everything goes there. We also sometimes have the blue one, which is for plastics and cans and things like that. But yeah, we don't really have that in the US.
Your food, metal, colored bottles, clear bottles, plastic. With aluminum, what you can do is every store where you buy, whether it's beer or Coca-Cola, you have to pay like a 6 cents extra for the bottle, or 1 crown in Swedish. And what you do is you get your money back when you go and recycle. Every grocery store has a place where you can put your little cans back in. What I like about it is it gives everybody an incentive to recycle. There's no excuse. You're already going to the store. You just bring your aluminum bottles there, or your...
Okay, that's actually really interesting. I actually visited Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark, and I actually saw this system play out. Like a 1 liter bottle, you pay for the bottle too, and then you return and get the money back. But I saw something else that was really interesting. I saw the homeless people there were going through the trash cans, and they were actually pulling out these bottles to return to get money back, which was also just a really interesting like byproduct of this system.
Your aluminum cans there. Also, what I like about it is if people leave their bottles or trash outside for whatever reason, they forget, people are going to pick it up and take it to the machine for money. And that's
exactly.
If you are homeless in Sweden, like we don't have really homeless, but if you are people that don't have a lot of money, if you find this, you can go and find these bottles and you can get cash that way. So it gives people an incentive to go around and look for it for extra cash, and it gives people an incentive to recycle. One awesome thing we do also is with the leftover food, is actually used for like biofuel for buses. So a lot of our buses in Sweden actually run on food that's made.
Wait, what? What is he talking about? Biofood fuels the buses in Sweden? I'm absolutely lost. Huh? That sounds like some year 3000 type stuff. I've never heard of that before.
Like a gas from the food that people don't eat. So that is a much more efficient way to do it, and I think it's awesome that Sweden does this. Now, I hear that certain states like California have much better recycling options, but I just think that Sweden does it so easily. I think the aluminum idea is a really great incentive and something that we could do in the United States that wouldn't be too hard, and I don't think it would be difficult for people to get on top of it, because a lot of times it might be tough to get the money back from recycling aluminum in the United States, where here it's a much easier system. Number 5 has to be public transportation.
Okay.
If you live in New York City and possibly Chicago, New York City has some of the best public transportation in the world. But as soon as you go outside the major cities, if you don't have a car, you basically don't have a job or a life.
It's so true. Like where I'm from Georgia in the United States. If you do not have a car, you just cannot get around. So like, I don't even have sidewalks in my area. The nearest store is probably a 20-minute walk by foot. Like everything's far, and we don't have that train system. That's just not what we have. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about Europe is this intensive, deep, expansive train system. And that's one of like my most favorite things about Europe, and something I fantasize about is like, wow, they use trains everywhere. To me, that is so cool because we absolutely don't have that.
Life. Because you just don't have the same freedom that you would have in the United States. The United States system is built around the car. Now take that another way. I have been living in Sweden for 7 years, and I have never once bought a car. Now, I'm going to probably get a vehicle this year at some point, but it hasn't been so bad. I pay about $100 a month. I get unlimited buses and trains within the area that I am. And it's not always the fastest to get to work, but you can take advantage of that time. I can read, I can listen to a podcast on the bus. But also if you're younger, if you're like 16 and younger, you have this freedom that you don't have necessarily in the United States as far as freedom of movement, because I was 16 and I was lucky enough to have a car. But if you're 16 in the United States and you don't have a car, you can maybe bike around your neighborhood, but a lot of times it's not really it's not really walker friendly or bike rider friendly in the United States.
So
you really need a car. You can't just like pass an intersection on your bike or walk across it. So that's one thing. The other thing is like when I live in Linköping, if I want to go to Stockholm, it's a lot of times more cost effective and actually faster and cheaper to just go ahead and take a high-speed train to Stockholm.
Wow.
It takes less time. I can then take a bus from somewhere else. I'm heading to Stockholm this weekend, and it's just the best efficient way to do it. We just don't have the systems in place in the United States to do that yet. I know they're talking about having a high-speed train in California, which would connect San Francisco, Anaheim, and Los Angeles, and I think that would be a really interesting thing. It's just trouble finding the funding now.
I actually don't know, like, at this point if they have that or not. I think this video is maybe a couple years old, so I actually have no idea. I don't even think we have high-speed trains in America because nobody really takes passenger trains outside of the major cities.
And I think in the United States, we would really benefit from adding some public transportation, especially things for biking and things like that. I just think that people need more options, and on top of that, it is overall better for the environment. Now, I know that the United States kind of economy runs off of selling the car, but if you look at the statistical data, most millennials nowadays are owning cars less and less and actually don't feel that.
Really? Even in the US?
Need to have to own a car. So I think you're going to see people renting cars in the future and moving more towards public transportation. I think it's better for the environment. Like I'm in much better shape because I walk to a lot of places or bike. So awesome way that they go about it. I think Sweden does a fantastic job with this.
Wow, amazing video. He broke down so many things in an incredible way. And I actually can agree with a lot of those. I think there's some questions, I still would have. He said he lives outside of Stockholm. Like, are the trains really connected in Sweden, like super well? Yeah, I mean, biking and walking everywhere definitely helps you lose the weight like he's talking. I'm a bit confused that you have to pay back money in Sweden, like after college, because I really thought their college system was completely free. I mean, I guess it makes sense for room and board that you would need to pay something. But anyways, I guess these are things I'm just going to learn in future videos. If you enjoyed the video, if you have any other video recommendations, make sure to drop those in the comments. I would love to react to more about Sweden. I'm learning all about the country, and I've already done some videos especially about the music. So if you didn't see that yet, make sure to check it out. Incredible music comes from Sweden. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing you videos every single day, so you're always going to have something to watch. So yeah, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.